Luka Doncic is really a Laker. Has it sunk in yet? We got more details about how the trade went down. What will the Lakers' next move be? What bigs could they trade for? And Lakers insider Allen Sliwa, he joins us to talk about it. That's coming up next on The Big Lead. What is up, and welcome to The Big Lead. My name is Doug McKain. Friends call me D-Mac. You can follow me on X and Instagram at DMac_LA. And today I'm honored to be joined by Mr. Allen Sliwa. You know him. He was the Lakers post-game show host for ESPN for many, many years. He's been on ESPN for a long time. He's got his YouTube channel, Hoops Talk with Allen Sliwa, that if you don't subscribe to yet, you definitely have to. One of the great ball knowers in the game today. Allen, thank you so much for joining us today to talk about this crazy, insane trade. I don't know about you, but I mean, it's just one of those, you remember where you were when moments. I just have kept looking at Sham's tweet, breaking: the Dallas Mavericks are trading Luka Doncic, Maxi Kleber, Markieff Morris to the Los Angeles Lakers for Anthony Davis. I need t-shirts made out of it. I need mugs, but just now that a couple of days have gone in, has it sunk in yet? And just how you feeling today about this deal for the Lakers?
It is not sunk in. And I don't think, honestly, until I see this dude actually step into a Lakers jersey and I see him drop 30 and 10 and 10, because that's kind of what he does, I don't even know if it's going to sink in then. It's going to take time. I don't think there's anybody out there, which is why this was so shocking, to think Luka in a Laker jersey at 25. Things like this just don't happen. So it's still a trip to me. It will take time to sink in, and it will take time to kind of realize that this franchise has completely turned the page on that LeBron, Anthony Davis era. It's a completely different era in Lakers basketball.
Wait, so seeing Luka get off that private jet and throwing up to LA wasn't good enough for you? You need to see him in the number 77 purple and gold for it to feel real?
I still actually think this whole thing is a facade. I still think I was the guy that when Sham sent out the tweet, I needed Shams, Mark Stein, Chris Haynes, go down the list. I needed like 10 different people, because in my head, I'm like, wow, whoever's hacking hacked all of them. He hacked all of them. So it will sink in. It will take some time, but I got to see him on the court first before I know it's real.
Yeah, and I think that really just speaks to just how shocking this trade was for everyone, fans, for people around the league. And even for myself, who, look, full disclosure, diehard, lifelong purple and gold, big time Lakers fan, it's almost weird that myself almost feels some frustration and anger from the Mavs point of view. I mean, Nico Harrison looks like he just basically gave up 10 years worth of sold out arenas. He just traded away the best player to ever play for that franchise. As great as Dirk was, Luka was on that pace. Last 5 years, first team All-NBA. This is someone who looks like he's going to take the torch from LeBron James and be the face of this league. And somehow, some way, he ends up with the glamour franchise. Just first and foremost, from the Mavs point of view, What is your perspective? Because this doesn't feel like, oh, they traded him for multiple first-round picks, got 5 first-round picks like the Knicks had to give up for Mikal Bridges or anything like that. They unloaded him to the Lakers. They hit up Rob and Rob said, hey, do you want Luka Doncic? And Rob said, nah. Rob hit him with the nah right there. You can't be serious. What do you make of this if you're a Mavs fan? Just your reaction to this.
Yeah, I think there's no justification for it. I mean, if I'm going to be completely honest, the Dallas Mavericks were in the NBA Finals just a few months ago. So you can't, there's nothing Nico Harrison and the Mavs can accomplish short of an NBA championship that they'll be able to look back and say, okay, you know what? This was okay because we got a chip. That's what he's battling with right now. What he's saying to himself, I'm going to trade Luka Doncic at 25 years old, an international superstar, a player that he's beloved, not just in Dallas, but he was growing that the Mavs were becoming a global brand because of Luka. If you're going to trade a player like that you have to guarantee that your franchise is going to get a championship. Okay. You got Boston, that's going to be a headache. New York, that's going to be a headache. Cleveland, that's going to be a headache. That's just in the East. In the Western Conference, let's see what happens in these next few days. Teams are not just going to sit around and do nothing. They are now have to, if they don't win a championship, if 2 years went by and AD starts his decline and whatever it looks like, and maybe Kyrie starts, and they didn't win a chip, you're going to be seeing Luka with probably another superstar rocking the purple and gold for another 7-8 years or whatever the case is. And that's what the Mavs got to, every fan that's upset, I get it. I understand it. I don't think there's any justification to do what Nico Harrison did.
Yeah, my prediction is Nico Harrison becomes the first NBA executive to win Executive of the Year for another team. I think he's going to win Executive of the Year for the Lakers as the Mavericks GM. I think that's how it goes down. But Alan, one thing I want to ask you,
he's got to get a statue.
He's got to get a statue. Give him a ring, give him something. But one thing I'd ask you is, it's kind of one of those things where if it's too good to be true, is it? What do they know about Luka Doncic? How much do they hate whatever it is about what he brings to the team dynamic, the conditioning? I mean, you sure seems so much made about him being 270 pounds, this and that. There's got to be something there that they know to justify this, to not even open this up to multiple teams and have a bidding war. I mean, he's under contract for a couple more years. He's already eligible for that Supermax extension. It's just so tough to wrap your head around this with other than that maybe they know something that teams out there might not know.
Here's the problem, I think, with that argument. The problem with that argument is go listen to how players talk about Luka on that Dallas Mavericks team. A lot of them speak very highly of him. Go read that letter that Luka had to the Mavericks fans that are basically saying, I'm sorry, I didn't get a chance to try to win a championship for you. Go see the Mavs fans' reaction of how they feel about losing Luka. Go see his dad, who had that interview, and his dad is basically saying, like, they did him dirty. So okay, let's say his conditioning isn't where it needs to be. Okay, that's fine. You want to make that argument, make that argument. That's the reason why you just traded Luka at age 25. Let's say that they're saying to themselves, I don't think this guy can stay healthy because of his conditioning. They were in the NBA Finals 7 months ago.
He played 70 games.
So I can't help with the justification. If you were telling me that about Zion, I get it. I understand it. It makes sense. Yes, his weight has been a problem. He hasn't been available. The Pelicans have done nothing since he's been there. There's certain players you can make that justification for. Go look at Luka's his resume. His resume kind of does all the talking. So I even if they had issues, even if Nico Harrison has a vision for what that team is supposed to look like, listen, he's going to be remembered as the guy that traded Luka, and Vlade Divac is remembered as the executive that passed on Luka. So what happens to the guy that actually had him and could have signed him to a $345 million? You heard that presser yesterday. They had asked him. They said, "Hey, was there any indication that he didn't want to be a Mav?" No. Was there any indication that he wasn't going to sign the long-term deal? No. So it didn't sound like there was, this behind the scenes, Luka was demanding to leave. It didn't feel like it was that. Maybe you're right. Maybe there's something that we don't know, but if you're the Lakers, you take your chance 100 out of 100 times.
No, Al, let me just say this. I don't think that. I'm not even making that argument. I just think that's the only way that you could potentially even come close to justifying this.
Sure.
I think that Nico Harrison's out of his freaking mind. I don't even care if it's a 300-pound Luka who's eating Krispy Kreme donuts at timeouts and doing hookahs at halftime. Like, I wouldn't care. I would still sign him to the Supermax. He's my guy. I just can't wrap my head around this trade on his end. But just kind of looking at what they're doing. If the Mavericks win a title with Anthony Davis this year, let's just say that. But like, could you also make the argument that even if they do win a title with Anthony Davis this year, and let's say Luka wins 2, 3, or 4 with the Lakers, that even, I mean, this is going to be a long time down till we can truly evaluate all of this, but I still think you can make the case that even then it's tough to justify. But do you like the Mavericks at least as a fit with Anthony Davis and Kyrie? And if you had to pick between the Lakers and the Mavericks going farther this season, who you taking between those two teams right now on paper?
It's a good question, and I'll answer it as honest as I can. I think AD is going to be a beast in Dallas. Why wouldn't he be? AD was a beast in LA. I think, there's a lot of Laker fans, if you had some frustration about Anthony Davis, for the most part, every Laker fan out there should be saying that was a great run with Anthony Davis. It was 6 years. You won an NBA championship. He's a phenomenal player. I think arguably the best two-way player in the league. They're getting an absolute stud in Anthony Davis. And if the idea and the concept is defense wins championships, and that's what we're going to try to do, that roster is better than the Lakers roster today. It is. Lakers don't have rebounders. They don't have bigs. They don't have defensive players. I mean, if you're going to have a lineup playing Luka, Austin Reeves, and LeBron James, you and I might be able to get a triple-double. There's not going to be any defense there. But this is not, the plan wasn't get Luka and just stop right here. The plan was get the premier 25-year-old that's setting your franchise up for the next 7, 8, 10 years, and then figure it out from there. So even if they're better today, I don't think they'll be better in 2 years. And I clearly don't think they'll be better once another superstar decides, you know what, maybe I want to go to LA, play with the Lakers. And oh, by the way, I get a chance to play with LeBron. The reason why I said they have to win a championship, because it is the only way that you could at least tell your fan base, we got a chip. And Dirk was with the Mavericks for 20 years. He got one chip. He's a legend. So it's the only way you can justify it, but it's not like they're the clear-cut favorites to win it all now. They're going to have as much of a battle as 5, 6 other teams in the league.
Yeah, and I think that's the way to frame it too, if I'm on there as well. But it's almost funny to me that if you are looking at this from the Mavs point of view and you're saying, we have questions about Luka's conditioning and his health, what's the answer? Oh, go get me AD. Go get me Anthony Davis, a guy who's dealt with injuries and conditioning. It really hasn't been an issue for him. And really the last couple of years, AD's been extremely durable. I think a lot of that narrative is for seasons past. But if you are the Lakers in this situation, it almost makes me think God is a Lakers fan. I mean, somehow, some way, Allen, you follow this franchise forever to actually have a top 3 player. He's 25 years old. He's going to be the face of your franchise for the next decade, when it looked like, oh, what do Lakers do after LeBron? What do Lakers do after this run ends? Now their foundation is set in stone. It's just about building the next dynasty with a player who I think if they could have picked any of the top players available for the next 10 years, I do think that would be Luka. How do the Lakers pull stuff like this off?
Well, in other years, I think you can make a case of just poor trades from other teams, take advantage of other front offices, hide Kobe Bryant like Jerry West was trying to do, and not let other teams to get there. They watch the Orlando Magic blink and play. They're trying to play games with Shaquille O'Neal, and next thing you know, Shaq's a Laker. They are very opportunistic, but I think the thing that comes with the Laker brand is when I tell you, what do you think of when you think the Los Angeles Lakers? Before anything, before Showtime, before Hollywood, before any of that, you think of winning and you think of legends. So that's a built-in, that's there already. So if you're a guy who Luka, which I guarantee you Luka right now is probably, what the hell is going on here? He still can't even really figure out what happened. I'm sure in his heart, he still is a Dallas Maverick. But here's what's going to happen. What's going to happen is Luka's going to look at a franchise that turned their back on him. He's going to read all these articles that are talking about he's not in shape, he's this, he's that, kind of finding ways to make Luka Doncic obviously look bad. He's going to be on a franchise that will do anything to try to win and start, the next group of stars that can help try to carry the Lakers to another championship. How do they do it? I don't know if I have the answer for you, but this one I think has less to do with the Lakers, and I think it has more to do with just a really interesting mistake that we might not be able to see today, or everybody sees today, that I think will just become more and more clear as the years go by.
Yeah, no, I mean, totally agree. I mean, I think they're opportunistic, and when guys fall in their lap in certain situations, they know when to pull the trigger. I give Rob Pelinka all the credit in the world for staying stealth about this through the entire operation. Now it went a long way, but just to think that you turned Brandon Ingram, You turned Hart, you turned Lonzo Ball into Anthony Davis, turned that into a championship, then turned that into a 25-year-old Luka. It's just mind-boggling. But a lot of people are starting to question the fit between LeBron and Luka. And just look, it's half a season pretty much. And you got LeBron at age 40, not a ton of time to gel. But we saw LeBron in the Olympics. We saw LeBron in the bubble with Rondo, and Rondo was setting things up, and he was basically spamming back cuts and things like that. What do you say about the narrative or the thought that maybe Luka and LeBron won't be a great fit right out of the gates?
I think it's fair because they are similar players, right? They're LeBron's not going to be the 32-year-old cutting back door on every play and, you know, telling Dwayne Wade, go ahead and eat, do whatever it is that you need, or telling Kyrie, you handle the ball here and you do what you do. So I think it's fair. And if you look at Luka, Luka's also not Kyrie. He's not Dwayne Wade. That the style of play Luka has is I need the ball in my hands. I'm very strategic with how I use my body, but I'm not going to be outrunning Ja Morant or De'Aaron Fox or some of these other guys. So I think it's fair to see what is it going to look like. But at the end of the day, these are two great basketball players with crazy IQ, with crazy knowledge of the game, with crazy instincts of the game. They'll be fine. They'll figure it out. I think the bigger problem for the Lakers is less how are Luka and LeBron going to play offensively. It's going to be how do you round out the rest of the roster so you have guys that can play defense, guys that can grab rebounds, guys that can create. So I think that there's bigger questions. I'd be much less concerned with how Luka and LeBron are going to play together. I'd be much more concerned with who are they playing with.
Yeah, I mean, I think Luka being more of a catch and shooter would be a bigger question than LeBron, really. I mean, they're both offensive dynamos. They're juggernauts. Their basketball IQ is off the charts. It's not the offensive end. It's the defensive end. And I think you look at that part of the game, you need those point of attack defenders. You need that secondary defender. I think Dorian Finney-Smith and Vando could be those guys. The question is, who's the athletic rim protecting big that could really fill that role? How important do you think that is into legitimately make them into a team that has a chance to contend in year one?
So I think Thursday and these next couple of days are going to be so fascinating because here we are getting ready to watch Luka be a Los Angeles Laker. And what does Luka and LeBron look like? And it's fascinating. But the reality is they gave up two starters. Max Christie is a very underrated 21-year-old that I think's got incredible potential. Anthony Davis he's one of the best defensive players in the entire league, and we all know what he can do on offense. So does Rob Pelinka say, if Rob Pelinka, let me play out two scenarios for you by Thursday. Let's just say Rob Pelinka said, guys, I'm not making another move. I just got Luka. I need a second. Like, I want to save that pick. I want to see how certain guys play together. I want to see what Austin Reeves and Luka looks like. And can Dalton Connect get open look? I'm just making stuff up, right? Let's just say he played it out that way. Then, frankly, you would say, okay, Rob, I get it. I understand that you just traded for Luka Doncic. You need a second to kind of figure some stuff out. Fair. I don't think he's going to do that. I think he is going to say, I just got Luka. I got LeBron for at least, another half season. We'll see what it is. Let me just put a little scare into some of these other teams out there by not getting a blockbuster player. Let me get a serviceable big. Let me get one more wing defender so that I could just have another player that's out there. Nobody's saying that they're going to go get an all-star, but can you just get one or two pieces to make it a little bit more interesting? Because they don't have a team right now. They have Luka, they have LeBron, they have Reeves. They got a bunch of other guys that were really kind of fitting around Anthony Davis, but AD is gone.
Yeah, it feels like it'd be the Laker way to say we've come too far just to end it here. We want to win championships. You want to maximize whatever prime left you have with LeBron James. He's hungry. He wants to finish his career with a title. But is there any names that kind of stand out for you? Any guys you think that they might go after, whether it be a Robert Williams or a Nicholas Claxton, names like that aren't necessarily the names you're talking about, these all-stars, but guys that could have a solidified role on this team and actually kind of round out what their roster looks like at the moment?
Yeah, I think, if you pay attention to some of the names that were out there, guys like Miles Turner, guys like Walker Kessler, here's the problem with them. I think that draft capital that they were looking for is gone because one of those draft picks are gone. Now, maybe they'll say, hey, Dalton Connect is a first rounder. We'll treat him like a first rounder, young player, inexpensive, and we get one of those picks, and then we could try to match contracts. Everybody loves Miles Turner. I think it's going to be really tough to get him because I just don't think Pacers are going to make a move. Walker Kessler, you're asking Danny Ainge to do some. Danny Ainge already, I guess, reportedly didn't even know he helped the Lakers on this deal because of the Jalen Hood-Schifino and taking in some of those contracts. I think he found out almost after the fact. But the names that I look at, would Clint Capella be available? That's a available big that you can get. Kelly Olynyk. Are there guys that you feel like Robert Williams, I think, is another name where a rim protector, kind of the same names that we've been hearing, but you have less capital to go get them. I think that part's going to be interesting to me. A guy that knows his role, is there to play defense, is going to get some buckets because he's playing with Luka and LeBron, but is also somebody that can hold the fort down low.
Yeah, look, I've said it before. I mean, the Lakers could lose the rest of the games of their season by 50, and this would still be a major, major W if you're the Lakers. But I want to ask you about AD's legacy. Does he get his jersey number retired in LA? He won a championship with his team. He had the big shot against the Nuggets, had his Lakers moment. What's your take on that?
I think he does. I think, look, if I'd have told you before Anthony Davis got traded to the Lakers that he would win an NBA championship, they get to the Western Conference Finals. He's obviously always an all-star. He's a big piece with LeBron for a 6-year window. Can we look at it and say, no, you know what? You got to win 2 championships to get your jersey retired. Sure, you can make that case. Can we be kind of picky about it? We can. But I think the way the Lakers do things, I think they understand that AD was a chapter of Lakers history, and that championship in 2020 doesn't come unless Anthony Davis says, I want to leave New Orleans. I want to be a Los Angeles Laker. I'm teaming up with LeBron, Clutch Sports, that relationship and everything else. They got a chip out of it, and in today's NBA, if there's one thing that we do understand about the league today, that the league is really, really trying to make sure every team's got a shot. So I think the way you value a championship today might be different than the way you valued a championship 20 years ago. It's just the structure of the NBA is different. They want teams to have a shot. And I don't think that's a bad idea. Denver won a championship. Toronto won a championship. Obviously, Warriors had their run for a while. Boston just got one. I think that that's good for the league that multiple teams get a shot, and Lakers got their crack with Anthony Davis.
Yeah, and the Lakers got a big shot in the arm with this one, and the league as well. The league needed this in a big way. I mean, the buzz around the NBA the last couple of days has been bigger than I think the entire season. You're hearing about more potential moves, but Luka Doncic is a Laker. Allen, we thank you so much for joining us, man. We could talk for hours, and hey, man, Dodger baseball is coming soon too. I know you're a big Dodger guy, Padres guy. You love your baseball as well. So yeah, it does feel like the Shohei Ohtani signing for the Lakers all over again. So it does kind of feel similar as far as the shock value goes. But yeah, I mean, thank you so much for joining us here on The Big Lead. And we'll check in with you soon, my man.
Yeah, and I'll just say that the big signing for me is Michael King back with the Padres.
Oh, is that your big one? You went crazy. All right, what was your reaction? What was your Michael King reaction? Did you do cartwheels up and down your spot, or what was that?
I can't do a cartwheel. I'm not that athletic to do a cartwheel, but mentally I was ready to go. We got our ace. We got our ace.
It's all good. Hey, the Padres, they're going to be sneaky again. I'm telling you, don't worry about that. But Allen, thank you so much. And we are so excited here. I mean, Luka Doncic is a Laker. It still hasn't sunk in. As you point out, I'm ready for that revenge bod Luka too. Like you said, I think he's going to be really out to prove that he's still that guy. But Allen, thank you so much. Of course, you can subscribe to Allen Sliwa's YouTube channel, the Hoops Talk with Allen Sliwa. I highly recommend doing that. And yeah, man, we'll check in with you soon.
Thank you, brother.
All right, thanks, Allen. There he goes, Mr. Allen Sliwa. That guy's the best, man. That guy knows ball with the best of them. And